And welcome to another round of Spudventures. Last week, I was sick for most of that week, so we didn't end up doing the Forgotten Ones. So this week, we're back with the first real session of Murder in Jumpspace, with our referee, Winged Cat.
Thank you. Okay, so we've been doing some administrative in the weeks since last session, so figured we start off with a summary of that. First off, I forgot to mention the medical pay for that cybernetic guy came out of the mustering out benefits. And this is why I was house ruling that that all expenses like that get deferred until you do the mustering out benefits. That way you don't have to worry about paying for stuff you don't have the cash for yet. In this case, 2,500 credits out, you roll, you get more than 2,500 credits out, yay, just subtract and then do equipment buy. Also, I forgot to mention there is a skills package as the last step of character generation. Which package it is depends on what flavor of campaign. Given that this is an investigative campaign, we took the investigative skill package, which meant that we had a pool of skills: advocate, adman, investigate, persuade, stealth, streetwise, electronics, deception, and gun combat, each of which taken at level 1, each of which just up for grabs, evenly distributed as much as possible. In this case, 2 skills for each, and then 1 skill for one other person. And those got grabbed. I don't think we need to bother recording exactly who got which. Just note that that happened. And then we got into equipment buying. And Traveler is a little transhumanist in that some of the equipment buys can further alter the nature of your character, and some of the players wanted to get into that before we got into the session, so let's get into that.
We should also introduce ourselves and our characters now that we've named them and whatnot. Yeah. So I'll start. At the end of the last session, I was just the chef. So my name is Lad Infernum. I'm a heavyset middle-aged man with flame blue hair. And in the equipment buying phase, I ended up taking some augmentations, wafer jack in the back of my neck, and neural common, all that sort of thing. And so I'm trying to figure out like when those augmentations might have happened, whether they were after his fall from grace in his career, the great the meat incident, or if they were during his job, because it's the future, and in the celebrity chef world, you have to compete with actual robots. So why not get augmented? I don't know. But yeah. That's about it. That's about the main thing. He's not really like built for combat so much. He's got basically a stun gun, but it's been kind of tricked out because he's got money to burn. Yeah, that's I think the rest will be more relevant if it comes up.
Right, and we do have a introduction bit at the beginning of the event. Yet, DreadPriest.
All right, my character is Davven Johnson, retired Marine, and basically what I did for it was he got a vac suit because he's dealt with space and he's got guns, so he's off exploring, seeing what he can actually, hunt down now. But I didn't go for any of the transhumanist stuff beyond the fact that the eye that he got way back in his career now actually is linked to his gun, so that he can actually use that to aim and shoot. So yeah, basically just got a pair of pistols and then a rifle for when you really need something taken out.
Okay, DragonBard.
Yes, I was the agent, and the name is now Julian Skinner, 42 years old. If you remember, he had a really low dexterity score, so I did some things to work around that. As mustering out benefits, I got 2 different augmentations. So over his career, he at one point got subdermal armor, as well as a peripheral vision enhancement. And then he later picked up a neural link and a wafer jack as well. Just keeping it simple with a snub pistol and basically a protect suit and a diplo vest, which are not able to be worn together, if I remember correctly, but are sort of meant for different types of purposes. And then various other bits of equipment and a large selection of wafers.
So I'm usually allowing the Diplo vest to be worn with anything else since it's specifically designed to be under stuff, although it's usually under nothing. But anyway, Azure.
Yep, I am a scientist, now known as Arthur Dedher. I used to have a strength of 4 because of aging, but I went and spent my mega credit on strength augments, so now I have 6 strength. And I also got subdermal armor because you never know when something might explode in the lab, so it's good to have protection wherever you go. And I also got dispersion because the dispersion type armor, because you never know when something is going to explode in the lab. Yeah. And I think that's about it with the different stuff. Got a personal defense laser. And I also got the breather mask as well, which I think I'm going to say, I'm not sure. It's the really small one.
Right. So that would be more useful on several of the planets, which not all the planets are perfectly breathable standard atmospheres. In fact, the vast majority aren't.
Right.
Not that will come up in this campaign, but it is a thing in Traveler.
But it does have a rebreather, so if the oxygen gets cut, I'll be able to live for a while.
Yeah. Some, of course, the pressure stays, but...
Yeah. Because I did not bring a vac suit.
Okay. Those of you watching the stream have by now noticed there's a map of the ship. This is actually an in-character artifact that will come up very soon. That being said, if everybody's ready, shall we get started with the first scene?
All right.
I'm ready.
Ready?
All right. For your own reasons, all of you wish to ride the starship Boomerang, a Nebula-class liner, on a jump from the planet Roop to the planet Regina. These worlds are 3 parsecs, about 10 light years, apart. The Boomerang will take off from Roop, get 100 planetary diameters away, and shift into Jumpspace, a pocket universe, which will pop Regina roughly 6 to 8 days later. The aging ship's equipment won't know the exact duration until shortly before the end. Nothing outside can interact with the ship while it's in Jumpspace. Liners are meant for high-class passage, but you have purchased the more economic middle class, and thus will be getting the smaller staterooms. You meet at the Roop starport and are quickly ushered to your ride. It must be a slow day, as you do not see any other traffic in the sky right now. The usher hands each of you a data pad with a map, that map that's on the panel, and brief notes about the Boomerang, then shows you to a short tube connecting the starport terminal to the Boomerang's rear airlock on the lower deck. The airlock's outer iris hatch opens as you approach, and a baritone voice announces, "Welcome to the Boomerang. This is your captain speaking. We are still doing pre-flight checks. I'll be out in a bit. How about you sort out your rooms while you wait?" Once through the airlock, there's a long corridor the map says leads all the way to the bridge, which is your seat rooms along the side. H, J, K, and L on the map. If you tap G, a tag comes up saying it's occupied by the crew. Long tradition leaves off I and O on lists like this, lest they be confused for 1 and 0. Each stateroom has bunks for 2 for a total capacity of 8. Sort out who's bunking where and introduce yourselves. Well, you already did introduce yourselves, but... So sort out who gets which room. And meet in character.
I think some of us would recognize each other. I would recognize Julian from university.
Yes.
And all of us were involved in the meat incident, though at different distances, I think.
Yeah, I just handled the paperwork.
And Arthur was the one who we decided who actually replaced my eye, so
So you'd probably remember me, but
yeah.
I might not remember you.
Right. So you come into sight of each other in the Starport Lounge and are very quickly thereafter ushered into the starship. So that's where you are as you're realizing, hey, I know that person.
Are we doing double occupancy on these staterooms?
That's up to you. One of the objectives of the scene is to sort out who gets which stateroom.
I mean, there's 4 rooms. There's 4 of us. 1 per room. That works for me.
I'm going to take K.
They're identical, so I don't care which one.
I'll grab L, I guess.
Okay. Julian walks onto the ship.
Julian, you get J.
Waves to Lad, and we'll take stateroom J.
H it is.
All right, fair enough. The point of that scene was more to get the player character or players talking and introducing each other. But like I said, you'd already introduced yourselves. So, as you stash your gear, the iris hatch at the bridge end of the corridor opens up. An aged gentleman with a cane emerges. Phew, sorry about that. I wasn't expecting you yet. Ahem. Captain Maruk Devoni at your service.
Greetings, Captain.
Nice to meet you.
Greetings.
If you have all your gear, let's go up to the upstairs deck.
All right.
And he shows you up that ladder that's up the end of right next to the bridge entrance.
By the way, I would be a doctor, but the universities wouldn't accept me. So I'm just a scientist. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah. Okay, as you get up the ladder, this is luxury for a starship. Volume and open space are precious commodities on any spaceship, and this lounge is downright roomy. Foreship are the luxury staterooms. To your sides are a sauna and a holotank for flying through charted space, observing any system or any planet or system you like to the resolution of publicly available databases. But since many of the orbital maps are provided by local tourist boards, that's a pretty good resolution. Down the wide hall, you can see the high staterooms and dining areas. After you come 2 more people. A lanky, stubble-faced human male, your data pads identify him as the pilot, Cran Crassian. Then a big, well-muscled human female, the engineer, Sherry Crassian.
Okay.
And let's see. Yes, none of you would already know either of them. Sherry notices your data pads. There was a slight glitch with some maps you were provided. If you could not acknowledge your maps are more detailed than we like to provide, please. Indeed, it's atypical for passengers to be given an object manifest version of the ship's maps. Are those actual trees in stateroom A?
Sort of looks like it.
So, yes, this isn't an artifact of gameplay and story segregation. You actually do see all the detail that's on the map there.
Okay.
Somebody messed up.
Sherry just admitted she messed up, yes.
Yeah. Do you wish us to? Do you need the pads back, and you wish to scrub them before?
No. If you will please just pretend you don't know more than you know, that will be fine.
As you wish.
All right. So your reactions to this, or
Julian's thinking they need to get some better operational security on this ship.
We're going to be trapped with these people for like 68 days, right?
Right.
Davven's reaction, it's like I never left. Because you figure how the military works. Stuff like this happens every now and then.
Yeah, and you are seeing the entire crew of the ship, 3 people. And they don't... Sherry looks like she may have been military. The other 2 are definitely not military.
Quite a large crew, huh?
Yeah.
Is there a steward?
Are you asking in character?
Yes.
Maruk Bells. I shall be providing all the steward services aboard this trip. I'm not a bad chef myself. I hear one of you is actually quite famous in that regard. I'd like to trade recipes, if you may.
We'll have plenty of time, I'm sure.
Indeed.
I'm not a character. Was that the pilot or the captain?
That was the captain.
Okay.
So Maruk is the captain, Kran is the pilot, and Shuri is the engineer.
All right.
And it is typical knowledge that on any small ship where you have a small crew, typically everyone's pulling more than one duty. So this is what they're introduced as. They're probably doing something else as well. And in fact, the captain just said outright he's the steward as well as the captain. So
Yeah, that seems feasible.
So do all of the crew share room G?
So as you noted, the staterooms are double occupancy. Only two of them can be sharing it, and you notice that two of them have the same last name.
Yeah, I caught that. So, husband and wife team.
Notice that.
Yeah. Are you tapping around to the other data to see what data you can pull up on the other rooms?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to give it to me. I am going through it.
Okay, it's very quick to notice that C is also claimed by the crew. You have a husband and wife team, and you have a captain who looks like he's a bit fond of luxury. It's pretty easy to figure out who's in C and who's in G.
Yeah.
What a mystery.
Yeah. The other passengers are listed as not yet on board, but that's that's probably about to change.
So are all staterooms booked for the journey?
Yes.
How many total passengers?
Let's see. So there's the four of you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and eight others.
So 12.
12 plus crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I just recalled the reason why I'm on this ship. So I should probably investigate the whole map being an issue.
What are you investigating?
I guess I'll just try to investigate the paths to see if they were tampered with
They weren't.
by the rogue. Okay.
So far as you can tell, it was a simple oversight, and she just gave you the wrong file.
All right. Because I'm pretty sure I think there's a rogue AI on this ship, if I recall my backstory correctly.
There either is or is about to be. Speaking of which, so Maruk pulls out an old-fashioned watch, checks the time, nods to himself, goes and walks through the holotank to the airlock beyond. After a short while, he returns, announcing the passengers of note for this trip. All of you have heard this usage before. Of note means the higher paying passengers, as in not you. Global Kukri Explorers leaves the horizon behind, and his wife, supplier of leaves the horizon behind. Kukri on this side of the Imperium are a rarity, but indeed, two centaur-like beings should emerge. They glance over the travelers, then pass along to Stateroom A, leaving the door open. There are indeed trees aside, which the Kukri quickly disappear into. Second, two Aslan, one male and one female, jewels and robes marking them as nobles, step forth. Sir Quatuhohelo and his wife, the female abruptly bursts into Maruk's ear, fly. The male advances into Stateroom B, while Tlai sticks around looking over the party. Third, the famed chef Recur. Another Aslan comes forth, less extravagantly dressed but with an apron studded with kitchen utensils and a large knife in either hand. He bows to the party, twirls his knife to gleam in the light before sheathing them, then stands off to one side. Tlai edges a little close to him.
Show off.
Right. And
Also,
Recur
I hate to interrupt. Could you talk a little slower, please?
Sorry.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to catch the names as well, so probably just like a little sheet fill out.
Yeah, if you could type them into the Discord chat as well.
Right. Okay, yeah. So let's see. So Kukri leaves the horizon behind, and supplier of leaves the horizon behind.
So, leaves what horizon behind?
leaves the horizon behind.
Which is...
That's his name.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, new to this universe.
Given what you know of Kukri, that might be indicative of what he does.
I mean...
So he travels.
Yeah. Which, gee, Kukri on this side of the universe, yeah, or this side of the Imperium, yeah, he's traveled quite a bit.
Okay, so the two Kree, to help clarify myself and the people listening, is one is named Leaves the Horizon Behind, and the other is named Supplier of Leaves the Horizon Behind.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I was very confused.
Yeah, the Kukri are what, at least 6 sectors to trailing from Regina?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So that's a lot of distance to be away from Kukri home space.
yeah, one sector is way far more than even most traveling people go in a single lifetime, and these guys are 6 away.
Mhm.
So very, very, very far from home.
Yeah.
To the point that most people would have never have actually seen a living Kukri in this area. So
Except for all of us involved in the meat incident.
Well,
we
Except for
didn't see them
me.
living
I
Kukri.
I'm pretty sure I just witnessed the whole underground Kukri cannibalism ring.
Ah. Okay.
I just got dragged into the paperwork.
It was my boss, and that's why I'm not a celebrity on TV anymore. Or on Hollow anymore.
I think television still applies because you're still viewing it from far away.
That's probably pretty true. But it doesn't sound future enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, the nomenclature checks out. Okay, so the Azon couple was Sir Katalowoko? What?
yeah,
I'm just going to call him Katao.
right. And then his wife was addressed as just Talai, which that should not be her full formal name.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Not too concerned about that at the moment.
So which of you was familiar with Aslan culture?
That would be the agent, Mr. Julian.
Right. The agent would pick up on this. Just, WTF is going on here?
Yeah.
Is that like a faux pas thing that you shorten your name in Azon culture, or?
Well, no, so imagine British royalty with names that go on for several minutes, one after another, and then in the middle of that, someone who is addressed as their equal is just named Tlai.
Yeah.
By her own choice, apparently.
We didn't even get the Aslan noble's full name, because his full name would go into lineage, planetary origins, etc., and it would be a very long name.
Right.
But then we got an even shorter name for his wife, because that's, really short.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, that's something you'd pick up on for pursuing later. And then there's the Aslan chef, who's named Recur. That's kind of more typical for someone who's not a noble, and you might recognize him as, yes, this is definitely an Imperial Aslan, not someone from the Hierat.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So
And you said Talai kind of hung out around him?
So Talai was hanging around and back, and then once Recur came on, Talai kind of edged over towards him. And Klato went on to Stateroom B.
Okay.
Right.
Starting to assemble the picture here in my mind.
Right. So Talai and Recur are still in the room with you. The other 3 have gone into their staterooms.
Okay.
All right. So Maruk goes on to announce, 4th, Merchant Albert. Plainly dressed, aside from his neck-hiding high collar, Vargar walks in, looking around his surroundings. He has a slight air of prey around him, and he slinks kind of behind you as if hiding for protection.
Who?
A merchant named Albert.
But who's he hiding behind?
You guys.
Us.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably to be away from the Aslans.
Yeah. He's definitely keeping you between, not just you between him and the Oslans, but you between him and the crew as well. Merc goes on, and finally, Dame Silia Surum and her companion Zafada Zarang. A female human and a male Vargur walk in, arm in arm. The woman's free hand idly scratches the back of the Vargur skull, which he does not seem to mind one bit.
Yeah.
Yes, this would be notably odd as well.
Yeah.
I have no context.
Yeah.
That is really probably more odd than the Kree, to be honest.
Okay, so there's a human named Siley Serm and a
Vargur.
Varder, which is a
Vargur. Wolf guy.
wolf.
They're
which
the
is
wolf
the wolf
people.
alien named Zafada Zarang, and something happened that is culturally supposed to be wrong. What was it?
The fact that they're a couple
Oh,
is a little odd,
Okay.
along with the fact that she's sitting there and like scratching him like a dog. Vargur
Oh.
are not dogs. They
Oh.
are not.
yeah.
Dogs.
Okay,
Never think of a Vargur like a dog.
Yeah, that tracks. So that is odd, even without the whole like cultural
Yeah.
pride thing.
Right. And he appeared to have no trouble with this.
Yeah. Little weird.
So
A lot weird.
this went from plain to colorful very fast.
Yeah, let's just say each of these guys has some plot behind if you choose to investigate.
And Celia is the one that Davven's here to keep an eye on, right?
One of the ones. Yeah, so all of you would in character notice that Dame, as in Imperial Knight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dame Silia.
Right. If there's anybody on board who has the authority as the Imperium behind them, it's her.
Right.
I heard my name mentioned, but no, mine is the engineer Sherry.
Right.
Because
Could we get a refresher on the reasons why we're here?
Yeah, I don't remember at all.
okay, I remember them vaguely because there was for mine it was checking in on the engineer who is a retired Marine who potentially is losing it and may have smuggled out a pretty much a combat suit. So
Yeah. DragonBard, you remember your reason, right?
Yes. The Aslan. It's the whole relationship dynamic there does not check with what we in the Imperium know of Aslan behavior.
Right. You were also asked by some friends back in the Hierate that, hey, this doesn't check with what we know of what's going to be on. Oh, and by the way, they're also childless this far
Yeah.
along. Could you please check out, see what WTF is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Newbiespud, you were mostly here to track down, apparently, Recur, although the fact that Maruk is a chef was a bit of a surprise to you, but it's just, oh, cool. Chefs hanging out, possibly swapping recipes. You're up for that.
So the Aslan chef Ruker might just get a chance to, talk shop about being chefs. But apparently the fact that the captain Maruk Divinai is also going to be cooking is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have 2 months. We're the three of us are probably all going to cook at some point.
Pretty sure it was 6 to 8 days, so about a week.
Right. And then Azure, you had the scientist, right?
Yep.
Right. So you're pretty sure there is now a rogue AI somewhere on board.
So was it implanted into someone or just on the ship?
Last you saw, this rogue AI was in the form of a wafer.
Okay. So someone's probably got it.
Yeah. Oh, and DragonBard, you also had the high society or high social.
Yes.
As do I.
Okay, yeah, so the two of you were told that there were going to be 3 other knights other than you two on board the ship, so just try to meet and greet them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know one of them. That dame is a red signal. Now, where's the other 2?
Yeah. And are these all the other passengers?
That's all. So after checking a moment to make sure that there's nobody else, Maruk, now that we're all aboard, there's a sound of an airlock's hatch shutting behind Maruk. Departure shall be forthwith. Kron, take us up. Kron salutes and heads down to the bridge. Each of you have been on enough spaceships to feel takeoff and a quick departure from the atmosphere, but one way you can tell this is a luxury liner is how damp the vibrations are. Most of the pampered guests probably didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're in the air, and very soon you'll be out of the atmosphere.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna... Pleasure to meet you all, and I'm gonna head to the library.
I guess I'll check out the kitchen, I suppose. See what they have to work with. Try and get advance warning on what we're going to be eating here.
So, just so I'm clear here, the Kukri and Sir Katarawoka are the ones who went into their rooms, and everybody else is still in the common area?
Yeah, everybody else is still standing around.
Julian's going to go and first greet the dame and introduce himself.
Salia bows, introducing herself. And she introduces Zafada as well. She calls him Zizi. Zafada quickly interjects, but only she gets to call me that.
Understood. If it's not too forward of me to ask, are you a couple?
Salia's, we're working together.
Okay.
Not really denial there.
Sort of surprised. To see the two of you so closely working together.
Salia shrugs. We managed to find a good working relationship.
Okay.
She leans over and whispers, I'm not sure that he's actually not just mind-whamming me to make sure we're working together, but I don't mind.
Okay.
And that mind-whamming is in the tone of suggesting that she thinks that he's psychic and maybe manipulating her.
Right.
Sure, just drop that casually into a conversation.
Mm-hmm. I will go talk to Merchant Albert next. Greetings, Merchant.
Greetings. And what brings you aboard the ship?
I'm on my way to Regina. Just finished out my service and decided to go there and see what opportunities might present themselves.
More or less my story too. As the captain said, I am a merchant. I travel here and there seeking ways to enrich myself.
Very good. Have you traveled far?
Some distance. This is not my home sector. But hey, this is Regina we are traveling to. Even back home we have heard of this place.
Do you come from the Vargar Extents or
Yes.
Imperium space?
The Extents.
I see. So what do you think of our fine Imperium?
Certainly more stable than back home. More opportunities for profit, more stable opportunities.
Yes.
Not that the chaos is entirely without merit.
I understand. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I will move on to the Aslan and first greet Sly.
Tali and Rooker are the only Aslan present.
Correct.
This Klato is still in his room.
Right. So
Tali eyes you and bows as you approach.
So in Tlok, I say, greetings, Sly.
Greetings.
How have you found your journey so far?
She mulls it over for a second. Profitable enough.
Excellent.
My husband is now on his way to claim his fief, as I understand it.
That is certainly an excellent thing. How much land will he be getting?
I'm not certain. You'd have to ask him.
I hope to have the opportunity to talk with him later.
Indeed.
And then I introduce myself to Rooker. Hello, Rooker.
Rooker looks a little distracted and then eyes you. Oh, hello there.
You know, a friend of mine is also a chef. I understand you are a chef?
That I am.
Yes, perhaps I could introduce you to him. You may have heard of him, Lad Infernum. He used to have a show. He used to have a hollow show.
You know, that name does strike a bell. As I believe you humans put it.
Yes. Very excellent use there. Yes, I'd be more than happy to introduce you to him.
Well, then lead on. Lead on. Let us not waste the opportunity.
Yes, I believe. Did he go to the library?
I went towards the
kitchen.
Yeah, wherever the kitchen is on the side. Not really.
So the galley is just down the hall, right?
Yeah. So if bottom right of the pink area, that little enclosure island,
yes,
that's a kitchen with an island in the middle.
Okay. So please follow me, Rooker. I will introduce you to Lad.
And so he does. Well, and so, you know, unless you've said you're going anywhere else, this whole meeting is taking place in the upper part of the pink corridor, or the pink area.
The commons, yeah. The second floor commons, yeah.
It's between A, B, C, and D on the map.
Right. So I will take Rooker down there and introduce him to Lad, and then I'll bow out for a little while and let somebody else take the scene.
Rooker eyes the Lad is just, oh, yes, I do recognize you. In fact, I think you were part of my inspiration to get onto this career.
Really? That's, well, that's something.
I wondered why your show went off the air.
Oh, it was a whole thing, this whole huge scandal involving my bosses doing some very, very unpleasant things that I happened to stumble into. And now I sell cookware with my brand image on them. That's kind of how it goes. That's life.
Really? Is this cookware decorative or functional?
Oh, I've been assured it's functional. It's not really the quality of gear I was used to when I had a hollow TV show budget to work with, but it will cook food.
Really?
There's actually a few pieces I've got with me that are on my own personal set that they're pretty darn good, I'd say.
I would like to see them.
Oh, I'd put it all back in my room, but right now I'm just seeing the state of things, making sure we're all going to be fed well enough here, right?
Oh, I think we will. In fact, I had been planning to volunteer as the chef for this journey to pave my way. If you would like to assist me, I would not object.
Oh yeah, if that's how you're paying for this, I don't want to get in the way then. But I'll gladly just kind of want to see what your take on this.
Maruk has a reputation. I think he will very much not object to two of our kind experimenting for this cruise.
Yeah. Yeah, although I do have one concern, obviously.
Yeah?
And that's the Kakri on board.
What about them?
Well, attending to their particular dietary needs on top of everyone else's.
Oh, you speak of their militant vegetarianism?
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Well,
I'm familiar with the cultural reasons why.
The fact that they have yet to attack everybody on board who has eaten meat recently speaks quite well to them.
Yes, I am not really concerned about offending them, more about, just making sure they have vegetarian meals.
Oh, yes, I had already been considering vegetarian options to prepare alongside the, let's just say some of our other passengers require meat.
Right, yes,
The
of course.
element of order.
Right, yeah, we've got carnivores and herbivores on the same vessel, and we got to feed them both, and the omnivores.
Yes.
That's quiet. You know what? Now I'm excited. This is going to be an interesting situation to manage. I don't think I've been in that situation before.
Yes, I believe I am looking to this challenge too. Perhaps we can even record to further our respective brands.
Oh, we could probably. Does the Travel Universe have podcasts?
It does.
Sweet. We can record the material for a podcast and.
Excellent. I have some cameras among my gear. I shall make sure they are set up before it comes time to prepare dinner.
Yeah, wow. This is great. I'll be honest. This is just kind of a business trip for me, but this is great. I'm super excited about this.
Business and pleasure together. I'm told that humans find this particularly harmonious. I have found it useful as well.
I just say, I prefer the human saying just roll with the punches. Just go with the flow.
He looks at his hands, flexes his claw. That translation would not quite translate to my kind, I believe.
Probably not.
Okay, let's see. Azure, what's your character doing?
Reading in the library.
Just seeing what kinds of books this place has, or?
Yep, just checking out the selection, reading anything that interests.
It sure is a library.
Yep.
And I'm finding the library because I did have a write-up. So, bookshelves are on either side as a divided table with two chairs. A few of the books are genuine, mostly dog-eared tomes on the economics of small ship operation. The rest are template books whose pages can fill in command with any book in the ship's database, which contains a backup of the Imperial University of Virginia's public collection, apparently synchronized each time the Boomerang visits Virginia or one of the university's branch campuses, such as the one on Roop. It would appear that the Boomerang is currently carrying some minor updates in addition to its passengers. Yeah, so this place is just making profit any little way it can.
A digital to analog library.
Yes.
Nice.
That's pretty cool, actually. Just like, here's a blank book with all the paper. Oh, now there's words in it.
Yep. It is a slight luxury good, but it's not exactly unheard of.
I mean, sorry, I'm going to be reacting to all these things because it's brand new to me.
That's all right. Oh, I should probably
y'all traveler veterans here.
I should probably read off the kitchen description as well. Let me find it.
All new to me too, Spud. I'm just, I think, a little more used with weird sci-fi.
Yeah, you're a bit more. You guys are a bit more used to the whole role playing in sci-fi.
Well,
sci-fi.
Not really. I think this is my first sci-fi roleplay.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Yeah, I've been doing Traveler stuff, good 4 to 5 months now.
All right, then.
I've been doing, I think I'm less than a year into travel. Well, I had some experience with Mega Traveler back in the 90s, but that was mostly the computer games. As for actually playing it, this is the first time I've successfully gotten a campaign together. Well, within the past year is the first time I've successfully gotten a campaign together, and this is the second one. So, Okay, so the galley between Stateroom F and the gaming space. This consists of a counter running most of the way around and a kitchen island in the middle with well-stocked cupboards and a wide variety of cooking equipment, most notably an impressive selection of knives. It is passable as a studio kitchen if camera drones were supplied, and Roker has just offered to supply those camera drones.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Right. And it does look like there are quite a few vegetarian and meat options already prepared in the cupboards here. And you've been on enough ships to know that most of the stores are probably stored elsewhere. But that's like, okay, you have a large storage space, which can then be transferred up in little bits up to the galley as needed.
Yeah, not too concerned about food supplies on any decently run liner.
Right, and in fact, you think you may have passed that cargo space on your way from the rear airlock to the storerooms, or to the staterooms. So.
Yeah, that would just be like near the rear airlock, right? Or
on the map, it's the cargo area in cream.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's on the lower deck.
Yeah. Okay. Who hasn't had a turn yet?
Me.
Right. So what are you doing?
Going to see about chatting with Cherry, as looks like handles some of the logistics stuff. So talking about experience as Marine logistics officer and some of the swapping some stories about it.
Yep. Sherry nods. Just, I didn't know anyone else from the service was going to be on board. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too, man.
So, what campaigns have you been on?
Oh, several, and out of character. We never got around to establishing this stuff, but he's going to explain some of the missions he went on and the.
I mean, some of that was Black
crazy.
Ops.
Well, the first one was Black Ops. Then he got stranded behind enemy lines. Then a planetary assault. What was the other?
The meat operation.
Oh yeah, that one.
I feel like there were like 2 planetary assaults, then one other type of assault.
Oh no, that was the other character that I rolled. The medic just kept getting into more and more combat missions. Okay, here we go. The Black Ops, trapped behind enemy lines, which we never really qualified if that was on the Black Ops mission or just so he was counted as having left the service because he vanished for 4 years behind enemy lines.
I think that's what we were going with, actually. So
yeah. So then the mission screw up due to a superior, which was the meat incident, and then betrayed by an ally from the academy, which didn't really have I don't think it'll have any bearing on this right now. And then front lines of planetary assault. So
yeah, storied military career there.
Yep. So Cherie notes that she mustered out of the service after a couple planetary assaults, and so my life here has almost felt like a third campaign. I mean, there was this one time when pirates attacked. I had to not only repel them but counterboard and board their ship. The captain let me keep the spoils as if we were a pirate hunter crew. Go figure. Did help me pay for my marriage, though.
Davven nods. Yeah, I've had a few like that. The fun one was when they decided, oh yeah, you're an officer, you lead that. Meanwhile, I hadn't actually been on the front lines for most of a decade at that point.
I don't think I was even in the service for a full decade. So, aside from war stories, what can you tell me about your companions?
Well, the scientist over in the library, he was actually the one who replaced this, and he taps his eye, inside of his eye, when it had got blown up, which that was fun to deal with, getting it reset and figuring out all the new functions on. The others I've only met really in passing, but we've got one who I've heard's a chef, though honestly, anyone can be a chef in my opinion. You just gotta have the right rations for the Marine.
Fight me IRL.
It's just more a joke because MREs.
That was also a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one, not sure.
That's fair. Does your I need any maintenance? If so, I would be most happy to provide while you're on board.
Oh, thank you. It's been fine for the past few years. I've had to actually get it replaced after the assault, and had an artillery barrage land nearby, so it got locked out of focus for a few days. So we'll see if that returns.
Well, if you want, and anytime I'm not busy, find me and we can meet at the medical bay.
All right.
They hired me to put people back together as much as the ship, and it has been fortunate I have not had to do the former as much as the latter, although it does leave me a little rusty.
Fair. I've been mostly dealing with making sure that everyone has what they need, so if you need any help dealing with logistics, let me know. I'll help out on here.
That'd be Maruk that handles the logistics. Going to be spending quite a bit of time chatting with your chef friend.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting then.
Just then, there is a announcement from the comms. A jump transitioning happening in 5 minutes. That was obviously Cran's voice. Siri's just, if he didn't even call it out, would people even notice?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, is there anything we need to do to prepare for that, or?
It really depends ship by ship. Some ships have a tradition of jump dimming, that is, they divert all non-essential power to the jump drive at the instant of transition. Some have more than enough power that they don't even care.
I'm just wondering because, like, I think part of what he was asking with 40K, for instance, when you go to and from the warp, you just feel nausea. And Honor Harrington does the same, where it's this, like, your inner ear rebels slightly during the transition.
Yeah, that's definitely not the case here. When jump transition happens, a ceremonial brief dimming of the lights is the only clue.
All right.
You know what's going to happen, so you would, or anyone who has much pilot or astrogation experience would know about when it would happen anyway. And you can use the hull of your room if you want to get a view outside, but there's not much to see. It's nothing dissolving into even less nothing. The black void of normal space dissolving into the bubbling gray and rainbow void of jump space, which they say if you steer too long into jump space, it'll drive you insane, they say.
I'd like to investigate that.
And before you do, one thing you all definitely know is that the moment you're in jump space, you're going to be cut off from the outside universe. So any last-minute communiques, you better get them out now.
If we're still connected to any sort of network, I just, send off, I mean, by now I would have already sent off the business emails being like, I'm going to be making a jump to, what was it called? Regina,
yeah.
So, like, I'm going to be out of contact for a few days. Don't.
Well, there's also no faster than light communication. Communication travels at the speed of ship. Literally, the fastest way you're going to get a message to Regina at this point is by staying on the ship and handing it in person. Nothing is going faster than you.
Fair enough.
So Julian's going to check one last time for any messages to him from Roop, and just check one more time and see if that back door into the intelligence net is still open here, or if they finally closed it.
There are no messages into that. And you know that once Jumpspace happens, you're going to be on your own to set up or maintain any backdoors that may be on the ship.
Right. No, he just, bureaucracy. They forgot to revoke his security clearance out there.
Yep. So give me an admin check, actually.
Okay.
Admin plus int modifier.
Click in the right spot.
So it's 2d6 plus your attribute modifier plus your skill.
Yep. Looking all that up right now.
Ten.
Mhm.
Okay, so you find the paperwork showing that this ship has been in the same hands since it was constructed. There has been no chance for another owner to take control of and implant any backdoor unless it was completely surreptitious and illegal. That also especially was a little odd. A single liner in the same hands, and Maruk is old enough to use a cane, but that would be almost 40 years ago. So that would mean that Maruk would have gotten into this like right out of university, which is extremely odd.
The ship is approximately 40 years old.
Right, and it's been just under 40 years old since Maruk got out of college. So if Maruk really has been the only owner, that means that recent college grad gets a very large commercial property.
Any evidence of mortgage on it?
Oh, there's a mortgage, and according to the records, Maruk's been paying it. In fact, there's less than 3 months left until it's all paid off.
And how old does Maruk look?
According to Maruk's file, he is now 62, and he looks it. And he graduated university when he was 22.
How did he get a ship right away? That is very interesting.
And
Maybe
the records of the mortgage shows that it's been the mortgage payments have been made every single month for all of those. This would have been like 2/3 of his life now.
Yeah.
Who financed a mortgage for 40 years?
The mortgage is in his name, and apparently it's just he's been making the payments somehow.
Wow.
You think he might be one of the knights?
There are no records indicating that he is a knight. You can ask him, and maybe he's suppressed that, but you're not seeing any record of a knighthood.
That's just really impressive for somebody that young. Get the banks and corporations to sign off on that mortgage.
Yeah, that was the question I had was, how do you convince them to sign off on that much, that long of a mortgage on that payment plan?
Oh, standard mortgage. 40 years is a standard mortgage in the Traveler universe.
Yeah, so the standard for a new ship is a 40-year mortgage paid off at 1/240th every month. And yes, that does come to 20 years. The extra 20 years is interest.
Right, yeah.
There are sometimes different terms, but that's pretty much the standard. Ships free and clear of it are, of course, at least 40 years old, unless their owners ran into some big score, which travelers being travelers, sometimes they do.
Okay. So after looking at that info, Julian will send off a reminder back to the intelligence service he worked for, going, "Guys, I'm retired. You're supposed to revoke my access." And sign off.
And ironically, the HQ is on Regina, so the mail computer says, "Okay, forwarding to the next ship going to Regina," which is the ship that you're on. So your message is now stored in the ship's mail database.
The vagaries of travel.
I'm just gonna check to make sure my database is up to date.
So far as you can tell, it is. You can, of course, update your database with the University of Regina update that you're right in the middle of.
Sure.
There don't seem to be any security checks or anything. This is all public access info.
I've got so much knowledge on my wrist.
Yep. All right. Is anyone else doing anything much before dinner? Aside, of course, from preparing dinner.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Shortly before dinner, the two Kukri finally come out of their room. Maruk by now has joined the two chefs in the kitchen and notes, so, I was expecting, when I heard we were having a Kukri traveler, I was expecting at least 4. They usually travel in families.
This isn't... You don't have that much room, I've noticed.
No, I don't.
Ship fills up pretty
but
fast.
I was wondering how they would make a single stateroom do. They purchased just the one.
They purchased the largest one, though, right?
Of course. And in fact, it's actually rather surprising that Kukri usually demand much larger space. But a luxury stateroom is the largest I'm sure they can find in Imperial space.
Everyone has to make a concession at some point.
They do, and they have. I just hope that they get along fine with our passengers. Meanwhile, anyone else back in the Commons is noticing that the two Kukri exchanging glares with Talai and Klato when he comes out. And they're just very visibly not talking to each other. The Kukri are even willing to talk to Albert. Not so much Zavada.
Just to avoid any incidents, Julian. Some days I don't even remember my own name, right? Julian will have with him slotted in but not accessed yet his diplomat wafer, along with his personal computer, portable computer with the translation program up and running.
The Kukri appear to be talking Imperial Standard Anglic, having long since abandoned any attempt to use their home language out here.
Very interesting.
Well, then again, you were pretty sure they would have run into troubles using their home language even a sector or 2 sectors away from their home, let alone this far out.
True.
At one point, Horizon talks to Maruk and complains about an odor neutralizer around the door to Stateroom A. And Maruk's just, no, we're not removing that. No, we're not.
Or what?
Odor neutralizer.
Yeah, I okay, but why?
Are you asking anyone?
I'm in the kitchen.
Okay, so you actually, yeah, you probably would have heard that because he would have come down to the kitchen to complain to Maruk, and then after he leaves, Maruk says, yeah, so the Kukri use scent-based communication sometime. I'm sure that they are having a lovely time staking it up in their stateroom. I'm not going to subject the rest of the passengers to this.
What a fascinating detail.
Even their... what was it? Fresher. They insisted on having no privacy there. Just, okay, that's fine. The trees block line of sight for everybody else.
Oh, I mean, this all seems rather silly, but okay.
Out of character, the Kukri are a little silly, or at least I find them so. But that they are in Traveler. This is how they are, so...
Think of a herd-based mentality where the herd overrides all other considerations.
Fair.
Yeah, the rules for playing a Kukri as a player character are you cannot play a Kukri. You play a herd.
Huh.
The they're not quite group mind, but they can essentially be played as such. You're especially the patrician, the guy in charge of the herd, but you're also the herd.
Mm-hmm. Still, like, more in the sense that, these frictions and considerations should have been, should be expected and not, like, something to start an argument over.
Yeah.
Seems like people are getting a little petty. And we haven't even gone, like, a whole day at Jumpspace.
This is a number of passengers in space. This is actually not that untypical for a voyage like this. Although it is, there are few more than you're used to. Okay, eventually it comes time to serve dinner. Rooker does indeed go alongside Lad to prepare a vegetarian on one side, a carnivore on the one side, or on the other, and omnivore gets a blend of both. So essentially you're preparing two dinners and just merging them for the humans.
Pretty much.
The Kukri occupy both seats on both sides of the port side table. There's room for one or two travelers if you want to pull up chairs in the aisle. The other guests are arranging themselves in no particular order. Are you taking any initiative to try to shape this? To try to shape who seats with who and who gets to talk to who?
Julian is going to try to sit with Sir Katalawoko.
If there's a corner seat open, I'm going to head to one of those.
Okay, well, again, this is part of why I referred to the map. There's 3 tables, and you can see either booth style on the starboard or port, or around one of them, including in the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And the center table is just there, in between the other two.
So where have people sat down so far?
So the 2 Kukri have occupied both seats on both sides of the port side table. Horizon is on the 1 to 4 ship, and a supplier is on the 1 to aft. Horizon is on the seats between the table and stateroom C. Supplier is on the seats between the table and stateroom E. The others are unoccupied so far.
So I'll go ahead and take the starboardmost seat close to D.
Okay.
Just in the corner.
Anyone else?
Julian will suggest to the Aslan take the seat forward.
You're breaking up a little, Dragon.
Sorry.
There's a fair bit of static as well.
Yeah. My internet may not be doing as good as it should. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Julian's going to suggest to the Aslan that they take the seats just forward of stateroom F, and then I'll sit down across from them.
Klato, until I do indeed take the seats next to stateroom F. Recur is waiting until everybody else is seated.
I'm doing the same as well.
Right. So you said you're taking the other starboard? In that case, slightly sit in the center. Albert actually it pulls up a chair next to the Kree on the aisle, and that leaves the rest of the seats for the rest of you to sit. The crew is taking dinner separately.
I guess I'll take one of the center seats remaining.
Yeah, same.
Okay. And so dinner commences, and I'm not even going to make you roll for it. I mean, you got 2 celebrity chefs and another chef who's not too bad in his own right. Yes, you can make a gourmet meal for the disparate crew.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be too challenging with a well-stocked kitchen and 2 skilled chefs.
I mean, you have fruit that tastes like barbecued steak, and fruit that tastes like fruit for the Kree. In fact, the meal kind of goes: port side gets the vegetarian dish, starboard side gets the carnivore dish, middle table gets the remnants of both.
It's just a big old buffet, really.
Yeah,
So is the merchant also eating vegetarian?
apparently. I mean, he does once or twice reach the center table and grab a few stray bits of meat. But for the most part, yes, a Vargur is eating vegetarian, which seems a little odd, but you've seen it before, and it's not like they can't eat vegetarian ever. They just need meat sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, not unheard of for Vargur to do that.
Right. Okay, any particular dinner conversation you guys engage in?
Julian will start talking with Sir Kataloko.
Okay, what's he say?
Greetings, Sir Kataloko. I understand from the earlier conversation with Sly that you are on your way to claim your land. I was wondering how much.
The Ozon, easily the biggest and most muscled person on the ship, with a possible exception of Cherie, laughs. Oh ho ho! Yes, I have been granted an Imperial night ship, and I understand these night ships come with land. As you know, Asylum, I'm all about the territory we claim, and I have claimed my territory in the name of my Imperial service. I'm en route to get whatever Duke Norris of Regina deems appropriate to bestow upon me.
Ah, I see. That certainly sounds exciting for you.
It is. I will admit, this may have been a bit overdue. I was knighted some years ago. I thought for sure I would have gotten the land at the time, but nothing has come of it. So I am traveling. Perhaps I must see Duke Norris in person for the ceremony to happen. Anyone who hears that, give me a streetwise check.
All right.
Okay, then.
Streetwise plus social modifier.
So let's see.
I'm currently lagging out on. Oh, there we go.
So I guess that's just gonna be 2d6.
Yeah. Note, if you don't have streetwise and you don't have the skill, then it's -3.
I've got streetwise 0,
Okay.
and also a social modifier of 0.
Wow, I rolled really bad.
I rolled pretty well.
Right,
With an
so-
untrained roll.
You rolled better than my trained with social modifier.
You got all ones.
I got all ones. That is something else.
So Arthur and Lad know this. Is just that's not quite how knighthoods work. There are such things as landed knights. There are also such things as honor knights, and usually for duty, it's honor knight where you get the title and that's it.
Yeah.
So, what's with the apparent promotion from honorary to actual, then?
I think it's just that he didn't understand that there was a difference.
He does not
But-
exactly look
but-
like a high intelligence character.
Yeah, but he seems to be under the impression that his status is changing and he has a reason to travel and can expect something at the end of it.
I was under the impression that he gained his knighthood some years ago and has been waiting patiently to be granted lands, but he lost his patience and decided to go see the Duke in person
So,
to see what was going on.
how to explain this?
So I guess I'll go ahead and bring that up. So I know I wasn't particularly part of this conversation, but what kind of knighthood were you granted? 'Cause-
Knighthood for my merchant services. Apparently, I managed to sell some supplies to a military operation just as they needed it. I managed to rescue them, they say.
Okay. So there is a difference between landed knights and honorary knights.
Yeah.
Question.
And I think you might be an honorary knight.
What?
I don't. Go on, Brave Sir.
Yeah. Because you said you got knighted several years ago.
Yes, Order of the Knights Imperial.
If you haven't gotten land yet, then I think it's likely that they gave you the honorary knight title.
So, Julian,
What?
while this conversation is going on, using the agent software sends it to search the database for the actual knighthood declaration for Sir Cataluoco.
The Knighthood Declaration is not on board, but he said Order of the Knights Imperial, which, by the way, both of you guys who were knights, you're also in there.
Right. Would it not be in my database?
His particular declaration wouldn't, but the Order of the Knights Imperial is an honorary knighthood.
Got it.
Okay. So I don't know if I would know that because I'm not a knight.
Well,
Or-
the database does include what the Order of the Knights Imperial is, so if you look
Okay.
up what he just said, then you get that.
So yeah, the Order of the Knights Imperial is an honorary knighthood, from what the database says.
He mulls this over, looks over at Talai, just, Plateau Twy, is this true? Talai's just, I tried to tell you. No, you didn't. And he just stutters and stammers for a bit.
So, Julian will lean over to Arthur and go, so what you're seeing here, and this is sort of a whisper, is the difference between what the male Aslan like to do, which involves land mostly and a lot of fighting, and the female, who are much more savvy when it comes to matters of social and economic issues.
I see. So it's sort of a brain versus brawn situation.
Very much. But there are occasional Aslan who break the mold, as it were.
Stereotypes are silly anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, out of character, the Hieride is very much a stereotype nation. And if you want to play a non-stereotyped one, then you're probably playing an Imperial, or at least a non-Hierite Aslan.
Yeah. The Hierite is very much a...
Tradition.
What, I'd describe it sort of like a feudal Japanese type society.
Well, now you've just put the image of samurai bears in my head, so thank you.
Yeah, except with a severely delineated role by sex as to what's appropriate for each one to do.
Samurai Lions is not the worst description of Aslan males.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Lions, not bears. I'm thinking, I must be thinking of something else.
Might be that you're a bugbear in a different universe.
Yep, that might be it.
Oh, and Julian, you speak Troc, right?
Yes.
I also
Right.
do.
Right, so you picked up on that Klaatowo Twy,
Mm-hmm.
which translates as Klaatowo clan member number 2. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking
And
about it, okay, yeah, so just Twy would be just 2 then.
So does Quo mean 1?
No, there's no 1 in the male's name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's Klaatowo, which is a clan name, and then you append the TLAI to that to make number 2 of that clan.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Ko means
Fascinating.
the leader of the clan.
Yeah. The leader of the clan is synonymous with the clan name.
Okay.
How much you want to bet there isn't a 3?
I mean,
Well, the guy who was pinged to tap them knows there's not a 3, and that's part of what he's investigating.
Yeah. So,
All right. Any other dinner conversation?
Who's seated at the center table again? Besides the two, I mean, I don't know.
So Silea and Zofata are seated at the center, and Rakur's actually seated at the center too,
I guess.
along with most of the party.
Guess
Well,
I'll
yeah.
just,
and me, so
I guess I'll just make small talk with the dame. I guess because I don't think we've been formally introduced.
The dame introduces herself and asks, "So, what brings you to Regina?"
Business, brand management stuff. It's really quite mundane.
Well, no shame in business. The Imperium needs a good business to go around.
Sorry, it's not really what I expected to be doing at this point in my life, you know?
Still,
Just
there is honor in it.
traveling from planet to planet, putting my name on things. My name in my face.
Silea raises a forkful, and now I can say I've dined with you.
I mean, who am I, though, compared to, someone who's got that knighthood, right?
Perhaps. But your fame may yet get you a knighthood of your own.
Oh.
Didn't he already have a knighthood?
Why
Or
would
was
I?
it the one
No.
below it?
Oh,
Why would I?
So
Did he have a high
Shay,
social stat?
that's kind of like, you don't have to have a knighthood if you have a high social stat, but a lot of people do.
Oh, I completely missed that. I do have Sochet, but
Right.
I'm okay with not being a knight.
Right.
yeah, you could be
Ironically,
like the,
Ironically, you're in the best situation to explain why you don't have a knighthood despite having this high social stat. Fame is explicitly one of the other ways you get high social. And well, that's what you have.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just feeling pretty awkward amongst all these people and the brewings engine and
Would you like to prepare a meal for the Duke?
prepare a meal for the Duke.
Norris of Regina.
Oh,
Zofata next to her elbows her just, don't give that away. What? I think that's it. Another celebrity chef.
wait, back up a second. You have a personal connection with them?
Oh, yes. The Duke is my boss. Zofata just face palms.
I put my hands up diplomatically and say, I won't pry any further than that, if only to spare you an aneurysm, Zafata.
Zofata more lips than actually says, thank you.
And I say, I'll consider it if, I'm kind of retired from a lot of that. I don't know. I've got enough. I don't need to do. I'm not like dying for gigs or anything like that, but it might be fun. I haven't actually met the Duke personally, so it would be kind of an adventure.
Well, we shall see how this trip pans out, but perhaps I can get you an introduction when we're there.
Why not? Why not?
Zafata butts in. Perhaps, sir.
Yes. Again, not too attached to the idea. If it doesn't go through, I won't be too brokenhearted.
All right. Any other dinner conversations?
going back to
Going back to,
conversation with the Oslo.
yeah?
So, Sir Talawoko, do you have other land already, or are you expecting to receive it from Duke Norris?
The Aslan shakes his head. No. I sold my lands to finance my merchant campaigns, and then I came here. the people back home were less than appreciative of my talents.
I see.
Well, if that doesn't explain it.
And how has your merchant activities gone for you? Have they gone well?
Fairly well. I was able to get a knighthood out of supplying that one military campaign, and I have financed my own. Well, I don't have my own ship yet, but deals here and there. I'm certainly able to afford this trip to see the Duke, and I have been granted permission to see him, I think.
All right.
Tly, how are our businesses faring?
He doesn't know.
Until I just shrug and, well enough.
Which could mean anything. Literally
I see.
anything, because she's not about to actually admit it in front of him or anyone else.
Yeah.
Right. Those familiar with Auslan culture know this is stereotypical. Stereotyped Auslan males, especially male nobles, are not supposed to know how to run finances. In fact, it's a mark of shame for them to be able to spot and get out of financial scams.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me?
Yes. So you may have thought that like an extreme stereotype, but you just witnessed it happening.
Yep. That
actually is canon.
That doesn't make any sense.
They're all about the noble pursuit of warriorship and land.
You fell for a Ponzi scheme. Good for you for sticking to your principles.
Yep.
We have lost all of our wealth.
Yeah. So it gets to the point that like the Auslan corporations, mega corporations, are female run.
Yeah.
The highest cyberpunk megacorp executives are all female and all unmarried.
You know, that makes a certain amount of sense, just like the males going, all right, fine, you handle it. We're clearly too dumb, I guess.
Yep. And the female heads of these corporations take pledges to remain unmarried.
Yeah, okay, so if you work at it backwards like that, where it's like the men have just screwed up too often, we're going to culturally enforce it that they just never learn how, so they can't screw up again.
Right.
And
it is all cultural. Auslan and the Imperium have no such restrictions, and they are fully capable as any human.
Yeah. Because it's still silly when you take a step back from it.
So, Sir Katalawoko, where are your other wives?
I only have the one. I only need the one. Which strikes you as, okay, yeah, this is not how it works.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Julian's mind is going, oh wow, they were not joking. What the? Huh?
Yep.
So, out loud. Really? Just the one? That's all you find you need?
Yes, Tly is quite capable.
Tly, that is such an extreme vote of confidence for you.
Tly shrugs, a pit upon shrug, just, yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Julian's gonna go back to eating and thinking about this, and like, oh, whoa, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right.
Straight over my head, guys.
If that's the last of the dinner conversation, after dinner you're back in your staterooms by yourselves. Do you mention any of this to each other?
So I'm going to call up Lad and invite him over. Remembering our old university days, bouncing ideas.
Yeah, sure, why not? I head on over.
Okay. Would you like a drink? I could use one.
I'm kind of on this program.
Okay. Julian pours himself a drink and sits down. doesn't really drink it a lot, but he has it there.
What has
He
got
says-
you so worked up?
Well, the first seeing Kukri way out here, that, especially after, well, you know.
Yeah, oh boy, do I remember. I don't think I'll ever forget until my dying breath.
Yeah, but in the Aslan, that is the strangest thing I have ever witnessed with them.
I really haven't dealt much with non-Imperium Aslan. What is going on with you?
So, in the Hierate, have you heard that the ratio of female to male is 3-1
And?
for Aslan? So, it is very common for the males to have multiple wives. It's expected, especially of a clan head. And Sir Katalawoko is a clan head.
Oh, but only
Yet
of a
he
clan
says-
of 2.
He says he only has the one wife. Now, he may have vassals below him. I'm not sure, but just one wife.
I mean, there's rebels in every culture. Surely it can't be that strange.
It is very strange. And my contacts in the Hierate are quite concerned because he also has not produced an heir yet. And
Wait, why is Imperium Intelligence concerned about the fate of this weirdo Aslan clan, mini-clan?
do you really want another war between us and the Aslan? I, for one, don't. So when they make a back channels request, well,
Wait, back up a second.
mhm.
Their involvement might start a war? What?
Well, no. We want to maintain good relations with the Aslan because we really don't want any more wars. We have enough problems with the Soleimani situation as it is. So when they make a request through back channels to us, are you aware? You know, Soleimani.
Wait. So this came from the Aslan
Yes.
delegation to check up on this guy.
Yes.
Okay.
They want to make sure that they're very concerned about some of the things they've been hearing about him. So they made a back channels request. So, you know, of course, silly me, I'm retiring, and I figure, oh yeah, sure, I'll take this one on as a last favor to the agency, and I walked right into it.
And now you're freaking out because it turns out he is exactly as weird as they thought he was?
Yes, I have never met an Aslan who
Okay, so tell
is
them...
not.
So,
he said he sold his land to finance his merchant operation.
which sounds like he's
That
very
is-
dumb, honestly, but, you know...
It's uncharacteristic. Land is what matters to the male Aslan the most, especially a clan head. The fact that he sold his land, it
Okay, that
it
does
makes me
actually-
question if he's delusional.
I mean, I think we can write that down as a possibility just from dinner,
Yes.
but anyone who
I mean,
would call
him being unaware of imperial knighthoods is not to be unexpected. They are quite
I don't have a clue.
labyrinthine. But to have sold his land to finance merchant operations.
That's the thing. So, if sold his land and then want more back from someone else who he might not even get it from, that just says to me, not wise.
Yes. Well, I have seen Aslan fall for so many schemes, yet in this case it's as if he talked himself into his own scheme. Which is something of a new one for me.
So, I guess the report you give back is that, yeah, he seems to be delusional and frankly endangering his own mini clan. That might just be the report you send back, but is that really worth breaking out the good, good hard liquor for?
This whole ship has me worried. What with the past incident, we have Kree on board.
I mean, yes, that by itself makes me a little nervous, but they seem to be. I mean, by Kree standards, they are extremely accommodating, really.
Yes, I'd almost say they're Imperial. Very surprising. And then to have Aslan and Varger and the Dame Silea and
yeah, just about all of them seem to be like pretty high players too in some form, except the merchant. I can't get a read on him.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him much. I do know he comes from the Varger Extents, so.
But like we've got a dame and her partner. We've got Aslan nobility. You've got Kree making a dang statement with just by traveling here.
Yes.
Captain crew. I feel like something's going on with them too, but I'm not entirely sure.
I looked up ownership records on the ship.
And?
Captain Maruk has owned this ship since it was commissioned. There's only ever been one owner of it.
Really?
Him.
How do you pay for it on the start? Or what connections did he have to pull that kind of feed off?
Exactly. He was a fresh university graduate when he got this ship.
Which means someone must have given it to him through some kind of back channel, right?
Or he was very lucky. Let's just say I would not want to face him in a game of chance. Possibly he's very good at that. That's about the only way I can think of a university student acquiring enough money to pick up a ship like this.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my personal philosophy, but, the universe is a big, strange place, but there's usually a reason for everything, as long as you dig deep enough. Even if that reason is someone was very corrupt or very dumb.
Yes. Well, thank you for the discussion.
Oh yeah, it was nice to catch up, honestly.
Yes. And it's been some time since I've seen Davven or Arthur. I was a little surprised to see them on the ship.
Out of character, I don't know that you know me.
Yeah, the agent knows
the spy knows everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows who they all are, but it's possible that Lad does not.
I do. I just say I'm sure you know everybody, Mr. Super Spy, but
that's right. You don't know. Just in case it comes up. I doubt it will. But the incident.
They were involved?
Tangentially involved in the incident. Not as directly as you.
No, I
must say,
I was in the middle of all that.
You were in deep, and I'm just glad that we were able to show that you cooperated and everything else. Otherwise, you would not be on it.
No, I would be very dead, and the Imperium would be at war.
Okay, well, anyways, but yeah, just know they were on our side. They're not imprisoned for a reason. So, good night, and hopefully this trip will be no more odd than it has already become.
I knock on any nearby wooden surface before heading out.
And with that, Julian downs his drink and climbs into bed for the night.
I stay up and kind of pace around for a bit.
Okay, are Darvin or Arthur doing anything?
I guess I'll check in on Davven and ask how his eye's doing.
Doing well. Had an incident a few years ago that caused it to go out of focus, but it seems to have been fixed by the medic there.
Well, if you need any other cybernetics, let me know. I'll give you a reasonable price.
All right.
All right. So with that, fast forwarding to the next morning. So, day and night or aboard Starship are a little artificial. That said, there is a usual, usually around 6 to 8, maybe up to 10. Waking up is whenever you wake up, or at least that's usually the case. Today, you have an alarm. You wake up in your staterooms to the sound of someone screaming. Someone on the upper deck. A primal scream of fear or rage or both. The scream is not stopping.
I grab my Tate and my stunner and head upstairs in my pajamas.
Yep. Julian grabs snub, safety on, and heads up there as well.
Put my glasses on, holster my pistol, head upstairs, taking the ladder closest to my room.
Okay. And Dread, you're up there too, right?
Yeah, getting has at least the cloth armor on and then the auto pistol.
All right. Maruk reaches the door just about the same time you do. The scream is coming from stateroom A. Maruk reaches the door just as you do. The other passengers are starting to emerge from their rooms, while Kran and Shuri are not immediately in sight. Maruk fumbles with the access code, but soon gets the door open. The trees inside are now covered with blood. The screamer is the screamer is supplier, who is looking in sheer horror at Horizon's decapitated head. The rest of Horizon's body is not immediately in sight, but this much blood could not have come from his head alone. Mm-hmm. As you take in the scene, Rooker runs off to the kitchen. He soon stomps back in unmasked anger, Dewclaws out but pointed at the ground for now. Someone touch my knives!
Lovely. I holster my stunner and I guess try to make sure that no one tries to crowd around the chopped up corpse.
You haven't seen the corpse yet. You'd have to go inside the room to try to find it.
Yep. Julian will step
I'm gonna stay at the door and keep my eye on everybody, basically.
Very carefully move along, always watching supplier to see around the trees through the rest of the stateroom.
As you pass through the door, that odor neutralizer, oh yeah, it's definitely present. The scent inside stateroom A is a little, pardon the pun, hoarse. Little unmasked sewage odor, certainly a lot of body odor. This is what Kukri smell like when they've been sweating. You couldn't smell this a little bit from outside, but after you pass through the door, oh yeah.
All right.
It's not thick enough to gag, but certainly it's thick enough that there's no question that the Kukri are present.
Right.
So you get in through. The trees look like they may have been cloned from the biosphere. So the biosphere had trees actually growing meat, fruit, and regular fruit as part of the supplies. It looks like these were decorative versions quickly cloned from that just to get a tree-laden room. Towards the back is the fresher, a toilet with the usual walls of the stall just completely missing, just right out in the open if you're in here, and a tub filled with ice, and on top of the ice, yep, there is a Horizon's body, packed with ice and filleted as if ready to serve in a macabre feast. Those who know Kukri culture know that being someone else's meal is among the deepest fears of Mokus Kukri, and this fear drove most of the Kukri xenophobia. In fact, this journey may have well been a protest against its xenophobia. So candidate number one for whoever did this is someone may have been trying to send a political message.
Right. Looking in at that, remembering the other incident. Yeah, this is not good.
It's possible that there's a link. You don't have that evidence yet.
Mm-hmm.
The door having been closed is also unusual. Kakri are usually claustrophobic.
Right.
Usually they should have been sleeping with the door open.
Okay. What is Supplier doing? Is she just still screaming?
She's still paralyzed and screaming.
Okay, not gonna approach a Kakri while they're panicked. Exit the room, and Lad, we've got a problem.
Okay. What are you guys doing to investigate? Because I assume you were going to investigate.
I'd like to investigate the kitchen and bring Lad along with me because he's seen the kitchen.
Yeah, someone's touched his knives. I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn to the captain. Captain
Okay.
Maruk, can I trust you to keep all the other passengers out of the ship? Out of the stateroom?
Yes, I think that would be best.
Okay.
Davven's actually going to assume a sentry position in front of the door.
That would be wonderful, Davven.
If
I
you
will
need-
be back in a moment. I need
if
to
you need
gather
Imperial
some gear.
And Maruk replies, if you need Imperial justification, Silia can probably provide that.
Yes, I need to gather some gear from my room.
Okay.
I will be back. Arthur, did you bring any gear with you that might be useful in analyzing a crime scene?
I've got my HUD, but
Okay.
I didn't bring any forensics kits because that's not my area of expertise.
Well, I have my Kimaview goggles. They might be useful.
But yeah, my HUD is hooked up to my PC, which has an Investigate 2 expert skill on it.
All
which
right.
I also have Investigate 2.
Okay. Grab what you think you might need and meet me back here soon.
I mean, I was planning on investigating the kitchen with Lad.
Okay.
I can handle the kitchen if you get your stuff.
Well, I'm looking over at the Kimaview goggles, and it's talking about sniffer. So you could use the sniffer in the kitchen
Mm-hmm.
to see who has been in there.
Yeah.
And that at least narrows down that section. And you can see if there's any fingerprints on the knives.
Yep.
Well, I guess in that case, I'll just go ahead and go back to my room and get dressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so the kitchen is being investigated first?
Yes, I get my equipment, get dressed. The snub pistol's going to be in an obvious holster on me. And go in with the goggles.
By the way, speaking of Julian, do you know me from somewhere? Because I don't think I've met you before.
Speaking to who?
To you. 'Cause, like, you're talking to me as if we know each other. It seems like.
Arthur, there are days when I feel as if I know you very well.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all. Sure.
Say that information you provided on a remarkably similar incident was extremely useful.
I didn't actually provide information. I just handled the paperwork. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about.
Yes, it was an excellent job on your part.
Yeah. Thanks.
I worked for Imperial Intelligence in the past, so.
Okay. I mean, aside from the contents, it was fairly routine paperwork.
Yes.
But, yeah.
All right. So.
Anyway, the kitchen.
Yes.
All right, toss me an investigate plus intelligence.
All right. And I'm going to be using my expert software as well.
Those are some nice rolls.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, actually. Considering this isn't anywhere near my specialty.
Okay, so and a 13. How do you roll 13 on 2 dice or 2d6 with bonuses?
With bonuses, +1 and the +2.
Yeah. Okay, so that plus the ChemView goggles. So yeah, it doesn't take you long to realize. So Recruiter said his knives have been touched, so you're not too surprised to see his footprints. You're seeing one track of them. You know he would do more than that. It would appear this entire kitchen has been cleaned since sometime between last night and when Recruiter was just here to check his knives.
Naturally, covering
the knives
tracks.
included, of course.
So
Wiping down all blood, all traces of fingerprints, all everything. This has been cleaned.
down to the level where the goggles don't sense anything?
Down to the level where the goggles can sense this has been cleaned recently.
Well,
They
wow.
notice traces of cleaning agents.
yeah, I was going to
Wow.
say, if you can track the agents, you might see who used them.
Yeah, what material was used to clean up this space?
So it looks like it was a cleaning agent that was stored in the kitchen. It's just someone did an especially thorough job and knew what they were doing.
It's possible that person might still have traces of that chemical on them.
Yep.
You're not seeing any traces going out the door. It looks like this was almost professional job.
Who would have the discipline and training to do a job that thorough?
Yeah. So any evidence of a drone in the room at all?
Nope. And you've seen no evidence of a drone anywhere on ship.
Wait,
Here's-
but we recorded a
Yeah,
thing
the
for our
cameras.
cooking
Okay, so
podcast.
the camera drones, yes, but the cameras can't manipulate anything.
Right.
They're just floating camera lenses.
Right.
Unless the cameras themselves push them around, and checking the camera drones themselves, there's no sign that they were used that way.
Mm-hmm. I take it most of the passengers and crew are now out in the common space?
Yeah, talking to each other, or some of them are there, some of them are hanging back in their staterooms, but yeah,
Okay.
everyone is in evidence now.
Going to start scanning everything.
No traces of the cleaning agents on anyone.
Any trace of Kukri DNA?
Nope.
Not even on the tables where they were sitting previously?
Well, okay. Actually, yeah. So it looks like the corridor has been cleaned to some degree too, all the way up to the kitchen area or to the dining area.
Oh, boy.
You do see the Capri footprints from beyond that, though.
Footprints. Okay.
From the night before.
Yeah, from when they came out and went back to their room, right?
So, okay. I think it's time
would
to...
it be safe to say that the attack didn't happen? It might not have happened in stateroom A, but in the kitchen and dining room areas late last night.
There's a lot of blood in that stateroom. A lot.
Yeah, but the body's been pretty deliberately positioned, it seemed like.
Also, the body is pretty massive, larger than most people aboard would be able to carry in one chunk.
They
Yeah, but
literally
still
sat on both chairs to sit at the table.
Yeah, but still move. Like, there's no way that what was his name? Guy leaves the horizon behind, climbed into that tub full of ice, and then let himself get decapitated. He was moved post-mortem.
Right. So here I'm going to let you justify a skill. This is a bit of a house rule, but there's multiple possible applicable skills to imagine how he could have been moved there.
So, is his body still intact, or was it chopped up into pieces?
It was chopped up and laid out.
Filleted, yes. But give me a relevant skill, and yes, Profession Chef will absolutely apply for details on the chopping up.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so okay. I did not understand that his body was not in one piece in that tub.
His body has been filleted and laid out as if for a macabre feast. Now, how exactly does one do this? let's ask a chef.
Yep.
All right.
So Julian's going to take Lad into the room carefully, hopefully not panicking supplier, and
I'll
also
head into-
scanning the room for...
Is there anything
whatever
else you
can
want me
be
to
seen.
add to the role besides profession, chef?
Let's do intelligence because this is just imagining and reverse engineering a crime scene.
Yeah. Well, hello. That's the
Oh,
maximum.
Wow!
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So you notice that the body has been chopped especially finely. It was almost certainly moved in pieces from wherever it was, and it was the murder certainly happened in this room, in stateroom A.
Yeah.
Whoever did it did not have the strength to move the entire body at once.
And the smell of blood in the room is present, right?
Right. And the smell of blood is not present beyond the odor neutralizer.
So
That would do it.
Julian's looking over at supplier. Is she
Still
calmed
screaming.
down? Okay.
Still screaming. Minutes later.
So, okay.
It's looking like she's actually breathing through her nose to continue her scream and is just psychologically beasts
Right.
on it.
Davven, I need you to come in here get some sheets, something to block the view from supplier of Horizon.
All right.
And then I'm going to carefully approach supplier with the Kimaview goggles and look for any traces of something that would have knocked her out so she would not have been aware of what was happening to Horizon.
Do we have a med scanning capability?
The ChemView goggles can do some med scanning. There is, of course, the medical bay, but you would have to get her to that.
Yeah. And I'm trying to do
Right.
speedy forensics collection.
You don't see any knockout agents. On the other hand, it's possible that she was just that far asleep.
Yeah, but the scent of blood in there and everything, that's a pretty primal reaction. Which makes me suspicious of the food that they received. So who's the onboard medic?
That would be Shuri.
Okay, so
I need to have a talk with Rooker as well.
Dree,
Probably Maruk as well, too.
do you know enough about Kukri physiology to help supplier?
Sure blinks. This is the first time I've seen a Kukri in my life, sir.
Oh boy. I hope they updated the database, the medical database on the ship before we flew.
Updated how, sir?
With information on your passengers and Kukri physiology.
They certainly updated that these two passengers would be Kukri.
Okay. I think we need to get her not in this room. I'm not sure how to go about this right now. I'm open for suggestions.
Out of character, stun, drag.
Oh,
I mean, we
Or
can check
try-
the database,
Or speak
because
softly to her? I don't know.
yeah. Now that's why I'm figuring block the view so that it's not.
That's good first step.
Okay, that's what you're trying?
Yeah.
No roll needed. The scream continues a few seconds after the towel is there, and then she just faints.
Okay.
Okay.
The scream has finally stopped. Congratulations.
Better.
So I'm going to see if I can find anything that might help in my database. Because I update that with everything I can whenever possible.
The database doesn't have much info on Kukri physiology. It's like Kukri are almost never seen out here.
Yeah. But sure, there's some researchers that have posted their work.
But in a public database or in private studies?
Whatever I can get.
Okay, go ahead and give me some skill for the research. You would be using your education modifier here.
All right.
Which skill are you going to use?
I think the usual for searching a database is electronics computer, right?
That would certainly apply. It's not the only possibility, but it is relevant.
Let's see. I mean, it's my highest skill. If I can apply multiple skills, then that would work.
You can
If
only
I
apply one.
One. So electronics computer is going to be my best
Electronics
bet.
and add your education multiplier or modifier.
So that's a 9.
Okay, so you do actually find a few files that suggest that, well, a Kukri is not a horse. There are certain parallels. In particular, they are notoriously robust, such that shooting them doesn't work as well as it should, including with stunners.
So
out of character, Kukri have one of their racial powers is they basically have damage before applying it. Yeah, so stunning her would not have worked too well.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and make that known.
Anyway, let's try and move her to the medical bay for now.
Sherry most certainly volunteers to help, but it takes like 3 of you to carry her over.
Do we have maybe a anti-grav cargo lifter maybe or something we can help with this?
Not on a ship this small.
Yeah.
Besides, Sherry,
the future version of like a handcart or something.
Sherry is strong enough that they haven't needed one apparently.
Is it possible to turn the gravity off on the ship?
Not in sections, not in this small.
I should have bought a grav belt. That was the thing I was thinking about.
Honestly, would not want to turn off the gravity with all the blood around because it would get everywhere.
Yeah. Well, luckily we have 3 strong people on board.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you get her over to the medical bay.
Yeah, I was talking about Davven, Shuri, and Katao.
Gotcha.
Katao is still in his stateroom. He's not touching this.
Okay. Is there anyone else that's strong?
Between Davven, Shuri, and one of the other player characters, you got enough strength.
I have 6 strength.
Yeah, I have 7.
I have 5.
Oh boy. Okay.
Right. So
I guess it's the agent.
So it takes. Yeah.
Yeah. How many minutes is this going to take us?
It takes you long enough that anyone who's not moving the body has time to do something else.
I'm going to talk to Roker.
Okay.
I'll go to the med bay ahead of time to check up on anything that I can with the robotics to make sure everything's functioning.
The med bay is a little dusty. It needs a bit of cleanup, but it's otherwise perfectly functional. In fact, you see some military-grade equipment here that kind of shouldn't be.
Interesting.
Including parts that look they were salvaged from an autodock. A high-tech autodock that can literally revive the dead.
That seems outside of what our current technologies can do.
Right. Yeah, it's known that this exists in the Imperium from place to place, but yeah, seeing it on a liner like this is some fancy gear, even for a liner like this. Okay, so what does the chef say to... What does the lad say to Worker?
First, where do I find him and what state is he in?
He's starting to calm down now. He's definitely been trying to cool himself off after thinking of this. And so he's standing out in the corridor. Everybody else is giving him a wide berth for some reason.
Probably because he's an angry Aslan.
Yeah.
I walk up to him, apparently the first one to actually cross the distance since we all left the kitchen, and say, so what happened from your perspective? Because all I heard was a scream.
I woke up with the screaming. I looked out. By the time that I was out in the corridor, you were and the captain were already there, so I let them be. when I heard when I sensed what was going on, I had a hunch. I checked the kitchen. My knives were not where I left them. Someone moves them.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you being particular about your knives when we were cooking. So,
I'm sure you can understand, as a fellow artist, if someone were to use your tools without your permission, especially for something like this. Am I correct to believe that one of our Kukri guests is now dead?
not just that. It was... I'm not sure you want to hear what your knives were used for.
The truth can be painful, but it must be faced.
Good, because that Kukri was filleted.
Filleted.
Yeah, just chopped up very finely in strips.
Would it be safe for me to view the body?
Yeah, might be worthwhile to have another set up. I lead him back past as they're moving the body out of the room. I take Rooker in and lift
Rooker
it.
looks over. Yeah, Rooker looks over. It doesn't touch the body, but just peers here and there. Just yes. Whoever did this, they used my tools to do this. There are no other knives this sharp on board that I know of. Even Maruk's own knives are not this fine.
Okay, so here's my question. Obviously, you know, the style of this is meant to send a message to Kukri in a very macabre way. I get that. But not anyone can fillet a large beast like this. It takes a certain amount of finesse and skill.
That it does. Are you saying that you and I are the prime suspects?
We may be. But if it's not you and we turn the question around and we have to ask, who could have done this? Or, if not through natural, say, chef skill, maybe through some other means. I don't know. Too many questions as of yet.
I must confide in you, friend. Ever since I have set foot on the ship, has seemed to be exactly who they seemed. I would not place anyone beyond suspicion.
Yeah.
Not even, I must dare say, myself, if I was somehow drugged into this, although he looks at himself. I see no evidence that I was.
Wait. Right. They were both in this room. If the attack happened in here, supplier would have heard it or smelled it, right?
Depends on how deeply asleep she was.
Do Kukri sleep deeply generally? Or can they sleep so deeply that they can miss the sound of a very sharp knife chopping through bone and sinew?
These knives, they are made to be efficient. They do not waste energy on sound.
Silent knives, great. Okay, well, that's good to know. So it could have possibly happened while she was just naturally asleep, is what we're saying.
It could. Also, one of my knives was bent. It would not have been bent by mere flesh or bone.
Bent, you say?
Bent. It encountered something harder than what we see here, and he gestures to the body.
Did Horizon have any implants in him?
Rooker looks over the body. Well, I'm not seeing any voids where implants would have been removed from, and I'm not seeing implants here now.
Are there any suspicious... Oh, we need it. Let's get the lights on in here and see if there's, like, evidence of a struggle or any sort of, like, evidence that a knife glanced off of something.
You look around, and this looks more like an ambush than a struggle. The blood from the butchering.
Yeah, cut his head off in his sleep with the super sharp knife, and then get to work filleting the rest of the body in that tub over the... Okay, so what about the ice?
You also notice that it's been several minutes and there's not as much blood as there used to be, especially around the trees.
Wait, the blood is evaporating?
The trees are absorbing the blood.
As to the ice, he gestures back to the doorway. That could have been brought from the kitchen.
Yeah. Ambush. But if it was an ambush, then why is one of the knives bent? What could have hit?
Are you doing another look around?
Yeah, I'm doing another look around.
Okay, this is going to be an investigate or a recon.
Investigate's better.
Okay, intelligence add.
How does a 10 do?
So you look around the room, nothing in the room. You look at the door, and bingo! The door, there's a little fob that has the controls for the door, and it's a keypad or keypad. The keypad has been nudged aside, and then it was closed back, but you missed it at first. But yeah, it was definitely shut back, and you see some traces of blood around that crack.
Huh. They messed with the door controls, probably because it was open when they came in, and then they had to... Were the door controls locked for them, though, and they had to get to the wiring in order to close it, or what?
And there's a little notch or a little wedge inside the edge of the keypad that perfectly matches up with one of his worker's knives.
Yeah, so they used the knife to open up the components underneath this control panel. But why was that necessary?
Probably because the door was closed at first. Worker
Wait,
offers.
are we talking about the panel on the inside of the room or the outside of the room?
Outside.
Okay, so this was how they got in.
So why was the door closed, though?
Don't
Don't they usually leave the doors open?
They usually do. Are you mentioning this within earshot of Maru? No, you have Sherry with you. So are you mentioning this to Sherry?
I don't actually know where I am right now. I assume I'm just walking back up to the room.
Yeah, you were in the medical bay.
After checking the medical bay.
So I thought everybody except our chef was in the medical bay right now.
I certainly went there at first.
Right.
If that's the case, then I don't think I would know about the door being closed. Wait, the door was closed when we got there, wasn't it?
Yes, and Maruk was fumbling with the keypad to open it.
So yeah, I guess why was the door closed then? I guess I will ask that.
Sherry shrugs and just, yes, that struck me as odd. I thought Kukri liked open spaces, but supplier specifically asked for the door to be closed.
Wait, you said that the area around from the kitchen up to the dining room was cleaned off. What about this area in front of the door?
Well, obviously the stateroom itself has not been cleaned, and the area around the door has not been cleaned.
There's a chance there might be a trace left here, either of blood or fingerprints or something. I head on down to whoever has the scanner and ask them to do another pass.
So you don't find anything, and it becomes pretty obvious this is why they used the knives. So the only fingerprints would be the knives' fingerprints, and which of course they don't have.
What do they do once they had the thing open besides just cross a few wires, though? Did they use the knife to hotwire it, or what?
That is actually what it looks like.
They just poked the steel or whatever it is with the knife in and caused a short that caused the door to open.
That's what it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, I can accept that.
So as we're getting...
Sorry, you cut out again.
As we get Supplier into the med bay, do we... And the medical scanners start scanning, what type of indications do we get? Does she have any?
So med scanners get work, and yeah, it looks like there's extreme shock, and no surprise. Supplier is unconscious for now. Anyone going to try a medic check?
I will load my medic wafer.
Okay, so this would be a medic plus. I'll allow EDU because you're scanning for routine known things.
Yep. Bitch. Double check here. Yeah. Okay. That will be the expert system removes my untrained penalty, but does not give me a bonus. So just the education, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Got an 8.
So you're unfamiliar with Kukri physiology, so you're not quite certain if these readings are right.
Mm-hmm.
That said, you do see it looks a little more depressed than usual, but you can't be sure if that was that's onset since the murder or before the murder.
Right.
I mean, I can also do a medic check. I've got medic 0.
Go for it.
I feel like there was someone that had medic 1 though.
I do,
have
actually.
0 as well.
You're elsewhere. Anyway. So just
I took
plus
an
EDU
extra
again?
program.
Yeah.
All right. It's a 10.
Okay, so you're not sure if there was anything there, if there was anything unusual from before, but you do recall a potential other danger. So Kukri usually travel in families. This was apparently a family of 2, extremely small, but still well. They were obviously managing it. And you remember a certain phrase: Kukri who find themselves all alone all of a sudden, rapidly sicken and die. That is a self-onset physiological thing. So unless this lady gets some comforting, she's probably not going to survive the jump, just because she is now alone.
Well.
And whoever did this gets 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
Guess I'll bring that up. Also, could I check the passenger? Would I be able to check the passenger database to see who has a wafer jack? Like, who's got a wafer jack?
Sure. That's going to be an admin int. A pretty easy check, though.
Tell you right now, I'm 1.
15.
Oh yeah. So there are exactly 2 people with 3 people with wafer jacks: Zofada, Silea, and Albert.
I see.
And isn't this interesting? Silea and Zofada are registered as being on a bounty hunt from the Empire, from the Thurs Empire, and Merchant Albert is listed as being from the Thurs Empire too.
Wait, context?
Thurs Empire being part of the Vargar extents. Basically, they are from the exact same far-off location. 2 of them are a bounty hunt, and the 3rd is from there too.
So there's a good chance that Merchant Albert is wanted, has a bounty on his head.
And
boy.
or
And Zafada are
they're all working together.
Right.
could be that too.
And this, whatever this bounty is, it's important enough that you have an Imperial Knight who reports to Duke Norris working with a Vargar from back there to collect on this.
Mm-hmm. So right now, those 3 are my main suspects.
Yeah, I would. I don't feel like in my gut Ruker did this unless he has an exceptional poker face.
And the reason they're my main suspects is probably not known to the rest of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I know about the whole rogue AI thing.
Yeah.
So they're the only three with wafer jacks except PCs who have wafer jacks, right?
Right.
Which would be me and Julian.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So you show up on the manifest
Yeah.
as well. I assumed he was just checking the NPCs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm just
Lad
kind of
wouldn't-
wondering if in character that would put me under suspicion as well.
Well,
Okay.
I-
Question.
I
you
would-
already have the skills necessary to fillet the
Question.
free, but those other ones with the rogue AI, they might not have the skills. They might not initially have had the skills, but with the AI, it could be substituted.
Mm-hmm.
If they
allowing
suddenly
them to
gained the
possess
skills of an
office.
auto chef.
So, if you told Julian about what you're looking for, he would probably suspect himself, add himself to the suspect list. Because, he did drink himself to sleep. So,
Well, I feel like it wouldn't be able to move you on its own unless you had that assisted ambulatory implant as well.
No, not with the neural link plus the wafer jack. If it was on a wafer,
I
could
think
be
I believe
slotted
it
in.
was. So,
theoretically, it could take control.
Question.
But it would have to be slotted in.
Correct.
So unless you did that yourself, I don't
Which
think anyone else
did
had
not
access
do.
to your quarters.
Yeah, that would be the question. Ooh, that's a really good question.
So whoever did it probably did it intentionally.
So, once the people with better medic skills are taking care of supplier, Julian would like to, well, let's be honest. I'm gonna use my computer in the intrusion program, hack into the ship's security, and see who was where.
By the way, so the med bay was a bit dusty.
Mhm.
Was there anything that was unusually clean?
Nope.
Okay.
So not really a factor in this murder then.
Yeah. Because there was the chance that it was in fact chopped up by an auto dock, but I guess that's not the case since it's got a layer of dust on it.
Yeah, and apparently the knives have been treated to be very, very, very high cutting power.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you're hacking into the ship system to check the security cameras?
Yes, and manifests and anything that the ship has to determine where people were located.
So, yeah, I'm not even going to ask you to roll for this. You hack in, you find the security cameras, and they're disabled. There was no tracking. There was an almost conscious no tracking.
How much of a gap?
Wow.
Since well before you were brought on board, going back many years, and this is the latest security camera footage you can find is from somewhere over 2 decades ago.
Wow.
You're pretty sure that only 3 people on board would have been here to do that.
Yep.
Are you
So
going to ask them about this?
So who had what rooms? I know that the Kukri were in A, the Aslan were in
B.
B.
Right.
Where was Rooker?
The
Maruk has
captain was
C.
in C.
Right.
Yeah,
Rooker
captain's
has
in
D.
And-
Albert has E. Silia and Zofada have F. And then Cran and Shri have G, and then you guys have H through L.
Right.
So, by the way, that search I did that include the crew members as well?
For the implants?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the implants, yes, none of the 3 crew have wafer jacks.
Okay.
Okay, I'm finding that the cameras are disabled in the ship, and that it's basically. Oh yeah, gonna go talk to the captain, to Maruk.
Sure. Maruk is down pacing at the entrance to the bridge. Just inside the entrance to the bridge was the door open, muttering to himself.
Captain Maruk.
Yes? He starts up, obviously startled.
Yes. Just to make it clear where some of these questions are coming from. I'm a former assistant director of Imperial Intelligence, sir. Given what has happened on your ship, I did take liberty to check the camera footage. There is no camera footage and has not been for several decades. How long has your ship been on privacy mode?
Maruk smiles nervously and then offers, yeah, right, the cameras. See, the kinds of guests here I tend to have here, I like their privacy. I mean, seriously, prefer their deeds and actions on the ship to go unrecorded. That's why I took all the cameras out within a few years of acquiring the ship. It's never been an issue until now.
Yeah, because you've been trafficking a bunch of,
Oh, okay, pause.
Right.
He said since a short while after I took over the ship, but apparently it's been 40 years since he had this ship. The
Right, are you
camera's
gonna
been
bring that up
disabled
with
for
him?
20.
Wait, yeah.
Wait,
Keep in mind,
How-
the only one there right now is Julian.
Yeah.
how
well,
long have you ran this ship?
Just under 40 years now.
But you do realize you said just after you shortly took over the ship, you removed
Objection.
the cameras. Yet you have footage for the first decade or so in your databanks.
Oh, was it that long that I let them on? It's been a while.
Claiming ignorance.
He strokes his white beard, or his short white beard. Yeah, sometimes my life seems like a blur.
We should
I,
probably go through some of that footage.
Key up the the Kimaview goggles on him and look him over carefully for anything out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary except sweat. He's nervous.
And there's
Well,
just you and your 2 other crew members and the passengers on this ship.
For this trip, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so lucky to have Cran and Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
Where else are you going to find crew? The entire rest of a cruise that will only take 1 stateroom's worth of revenue, leaving all the rest to help pay the bills. And they're so helpful, too.
Really? How helpful are they?
You should have seen Cherie take on these 1 pirates. I thought for sure I was finally done. She took them all single-handedly, went back and took their ship, too. I mean, she'd already been flirting with the pilot, but after that, they were inseparable. I couldn't help but let them claim the entire bounty on the pirate and sell that ship, too.
Well, that would
I
explain
mean, she offered to, well, never mind what she offered, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to bet this isn't the original Maruk?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if full body cloning's going on here.
Wait,
Seems
what-
a little odd.
What makes you say cloning all of a sudden?
Well, cloning or something so that he would continue to match the records for the ship and everything, because they'd noticed that the captain didn't match when he made a call at a port.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yes, it has to be something, but I'm just interested that you jumped to cloning. Anyway.
Yeah.
The thing about the filleting that's been on my mind is that if we're dealing with someone who has a neural implant or wafer jack, that means anyone could load up an extra program and know how to fillet an animal. So we can't actually make any rulings based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, one other thing you noticed when you check the manifests, there is no central manifest. Each passenger has manifests of their own cargo, which is limited to the computers in their staterooms.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, everyone has a private manifest?
Yeah. Which very much hooks up with what Baruch just said of him favoring extreme privacy for his clients.
So that's going to require me, if I want to know what each passenger brought in, I'm going to have to hack each room.
Right. Or inspect their luggage directly. Either way, it's a break-in attempt to that particular room.
So after talking with the captain, just because Julian doesn't like this, he goes back to his rooms, gets out his 5 bugs, and puts one outside his room. And then and then one covering for now the common area, and in the medical bay, and in the crime scene room.
And we could probably just seize the is there a computer in stateroom A with their luggage database on it? So we could just probably go ahead and view that directly.
Yeah.
All right, so you're hacking into that?
Either me or who else has electronics computers?
Yeah, I've got electronics computer too.
Whoever's doing it, give
you
me a
should do
roll.
it. You should do it. You have a higher skill.
Yeah, just a moment.
Leave it to the Black Ops scientist.
Yep.
Do you need to borrow my intrusion program?
No.
Okay.
No, I've got a
so.
better one.
Well, I don't. I just have my own knowledge. So is that intelligence?
Yeah.
I'm actually smarter than your program, thank you.
Yep. Figures.
Yeah.
Oh,
He is.
okay. So you're going over the supplies, so it looks like this was all signed off by supplier specifically. She is the supplier after all. You see some routine trade goods, some food, and then, well, so there's those times when the hairs on your back, the back of your neck, stand up. And then there's times when you're frantically pounding your keyboard to the beat of a red alert as your ship goes into combat. And then there's the times you're browsing a routine cargo manifest and the word antimatter comes up. And let's pause the session here.
What?
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
goody.
Yeah, I think that worked as a good end for today's session.
Okay, so...
And specifically, enough antimatter to blow up the ship.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
then that's like any amount of antimatter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to remember that unlike Star Trek, traveler ships don't necessarily run on antimatter.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Yeah, antimatter is a high-tech and highly explosive trade good.
yeah.
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 Out of character note, also just looking at the ship map, all those squares in the fuel color.
Yeah, just right there, right?
Yep.
Right.
need a lot of
Like
fuel.
the entire hull is full of fuel.
Right.
Yep.
And notice that those gray squares are the luggage, so that would be where the antimatter is. the gray squares in Steer Room A.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well,
Wow.
And on that note,
thank you for listening to our Spudventures. If you like what you heard, you can find more at youtube.com/Newbiespud or Liberated Syndication or libsyn.com, spudventures.libsyn.com, or iTunes or Google Play Podcasts, whichever you prefer. We aim to live stream these Sundays every Sunday around 2 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Newbiespud. We don't always manage to, but we try. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up with updates. I try to post whenever I can. And if you want to support my ability to keep running games like this for my friends and acquaintances, please support me at patreon.com/Newbiespud. See you next time with hopefully what will actually be the Forgotten Ones session 5, 6. It's been too long, I've forgotten now. But thank you, Winged Cat, for running this, and I look forward to a couple weeks from now when we do Murder in Jumpspace session 2.
Yeah.
Really, antimatter. You had to...